go. Starting the recording. Okay. So this is Divan-e Shams poem number 58. I read the Persian the Farsi version, Persian version first, then I translate my own translation the best I can do. And the reason I read it because uh, for you guys who speak Farsi, so you can hear it. For the ones who don't speak Farsi, they can hear the music of Rumi. The music is important. رسیدان شه رسیدان شه بیارایید ایوان را فرو برید ساعدها برای خوب کنعان را. The king is arriving. The king is arriving. King here is the symbol of divine. Beautify and decorate the home. You will cut your hand as soon as Prophet Joseph shows up. چو آمد جان 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 نشاید برد نام جان بی پیشش جان چه کار آید مگر از بهر قربان را. When the life of the life of the life comes, it is not appropriate to pay attention to fake life. Our egoic life is less valuable than our divine and true internal life, but only to sacrifice. So this fake life is good to be sacrificed. That's what Rumi says here. بودم بی عشق گمراهی در آمد عشق ناگاهی بودم کوهی شدم کاهی برای اسب سلطانی. Without true love, I was lost and misdirected. Suddenly, love came to my rescue. Before life's arrival, I was like a mountain full of ego and self-centeredness. Then I became light like straw, and ultimately my straw-like being became food for the king's horse. So I became, before I was worthless, I was good for nothing, I was not useful. Then I became useful. After I became a straw. Now I'm good for the king's horse. اگر ترک است و تاجیک است به دو این بنده نزدیک است. You want to ask question, Otsia? You have your hands up.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Mr. Akbar,
Yes.
in the verse above, the one ending in Asbe Sultani, I want to ask you, is Rumi talking about going from Ishke Majazi to Ishke Hakiki?
Exactly. From Ishq Majazi to, very good. Yes, Otsia. From Ishq Majazi to Ishq Haji. Yes, that's true. Good point. Okay. اگر ترک است و تاجیک است به دو این بنده نزدیک است چو جان با تن ولیکن تن نبیند هیچ مر جان را. It is not important which race or country he belongs to. It is crucial that you are close to the divine, like the proximity of the soul to the body. Even though the body and soul are next to each other, the body cannot see the soul. So the body is dead. The body in Sufi literature, in Sufi teaching, the body is dead. The reason, you see, we think the eye can see. No, the eye cannot see. The eye is an instrument of seeing. The soul sees. Like if you have a binocular, the binocular doesn't see. You see who are using the binocular, but binocular is an instrument to zoom, right? This is what they're saying. So the body and soul, even though the body and soul are next to each other, the body cannot see the soul, but the soul can see the body because the soul is alive and the body is dead. هلا یاران که بخت آمد گه ایثار رخت آمد سلیمانی به تخت آمد برای عزم شیطان را. Excuse me. Our friends, congratulations, because we are lucky. It is time that we let go of our false and fake being. Prophet Solomon, the symbol of the Lord, came to our hearts and established his residency in our being, and he will remove the devil that took over our being unjustly. That's the good news here is saying. Oh, friends, the Solomon came and he's going to basically rescue us. بجه از جا چه می پایی چرا بی دست و بی پایی نمیدانی ز هدهد جو ره قصر سلیمان را. Stand up and start moving while you're sitting and not making an effort and hard work. If you don't know, ask the wise bird, symbol of a spiritual master, Hot here, says Rumi, the way to the Solomon palace. بکن آنجا مناجاتت بگو اسرار و حاجاتت سلیمان خود همی داند زبان جمله مرغان را. You should pray in any language that you know and ask for blessings and requests, because Solomon, symbol of the divine, understands the languages of all his creatures. You can pray and request in any language because the divine knows all of the languages. سخن باد است ای بنده کند دل را پراکنده ولیکن اوش فرماید که گرد آور پریشان را. All human beings, be aware that talk is like wind because it disturbs the concentration of the heart. But the divine addresses and tells us, bring together your scattered and fragmented heart. So the Rumi says in here and other places that words distract us. Words scatters us, and but we don't have any tool but words. That's why we study it. There is no tool but words, but we know the the divine, our soul, it cannot be explained in words. Impossible. It cannot be explained, but we use words to get closer to the divine. And the words of the wise, the word of the Sufi masters, not the word of the stupid and ignorant people. The word of the masters, like Rumi and other Sufis, we use them to get to bring ourselves together. And because talk is like wind, scatters, it disturbs. But it says, but the divine says, bring together your scattered and fragmented heart. Bring it together, and that's what we are trying to do here, to bring ourselves together. So is there any question here, ladies and gentlemen, to this, up to this? If any question? All right, so let's go to the to where we left last time. And I have good stuff here for you, God willing. This is 321. Here you go. That's what we were last time, 321, 2025. Now, so in order to understand the poem that we just read, we bring poems and verses from Masnavi and from other places in Ghazaliyat to understand. The best way to understand and interpret Rumi is by Rumi. Because we don't want to bring anything from outside or from our own mind, because that's not, because maybe we are not saying what Rumi is really Rumi's intention. That's why we go to other places and we find verses that help us to understand what we just read. One of the verses that hopefully we're going to help us to understand the following the poem that we just read is this one, this verse from book 1, verse 32:19. Excuse me. در تگ جو هست سرگین ای فتا گرچه جو صافی نماید مر تو را. There is poop in the bed of the stream, my man, although to you the stream appears pure. Rumi talking to us and others and saying, when you look at yourself, you might look very pure at the surface, but there's poop in the bottom. You have seen the streams in nature, that it looks very nice on the surface. If you look deeper, if you look further, you see there is poop. So he says, do not, so that's a good thing for us. It's a lesson for us. We do not become proud in ourselves. If we look nice from the outside and pure and clean, we have to look inside, deep inside. Maybe there's poop out there. So we start working. We don't stop. We start working. This is an unending journey. It never stops. It's going forever because God is infinity. So the journey is infinity. As a matter of fact, the destination is the journey itself. We're not going to get anywhere because there is no end to it. This is an ongoing, even God forbid, after 220 years that one dies, you're still going. The the completion and the perfection of the soul never stops. It's a forever journey. That's what Rumi says. That's what Sufis say. کرده حق ناموس را صد من حدید ای بسا بسته به بند ناپدید. God had made a fake reputation to be like 100 pounds weight of iron. Oh, many ones are bound in the unseen chain. This is book 1 from Rumi Masnavi, verse 32-40. In conclusion, whoever has the fantasy of perfection should accept his wrongdoings and confess to his errors in every walk of life. He should accept the spiritual suffering and minimize the size of his ego and become like a mirror. Here, a lot of people have fake reputation, including me. And it is like hundreds pounds weight of iron is pushing us down, bringing us down, and making us petty. So he says you cannot see it. It's an unseen chain. But this fake reputation, I have to look good. I want to look good. I want to make sure I don't disturb my reputation. I have created an image in others that I am the best of the best. There's nobody better than me. I'm perfect. I'm perfect. This is ego. And I don't want to disturb it. I don't want people to know that I have issues, that I'm not perfect, that I have psychological problems or whatever, right? This is what he's saying. This is what he's saying. This fake reputation is trouble. If you have fake reputation, get rid of it. It's going to stop you from the journey. It's going to stop you from becoming a better person that you can become. Get rid of it. Don't tell, oh, I'm the best of it. Just be honest and tell them, hey, I'm incomplete. I'm defective. Everybody's defective, basically, one way or another. Now, Sufis the masters are very are advanced and better, but even them, they don't say that I'm perfect. Rumi says none of these. When he makes the poem, he says, I didn't make it. I was connected to the source, and the source brought me these beautiful verses. I don't do this, right? Read them. He never claims that he has made these beautiful verses. This is from the poem. بکن آنجا مناجاتت بگو اسرار و حاجاتت سلیمان خود همی داند زبان جمله مرغان را. You should pray in any language that you know and ask for blessings and requests, because Solomon, symbol of the divine, understand the language of all his creatures. Poem number 58. You are like a bird that Solomon God understand your language. You should expand your heart and do your prayers in that space. Then you will realize that your request is not to increase your attachments, but your true request has to bring life to your inner core. So Rumi says nothing is worthy of prayer, nothing is worthy of asking, but the Almighty, the divine. That's the thing we should ask. We do ask, for money, for this, for that. It's okay, by the way. I think it's fine because we are still asking the beloved, asking the master. But Rumi says nothing is worth of asking but requesting, but the Almighty himself. اگر ترک است و تاجیک است بدو این بنده نزدیک است چو جان با تن ولیکن تن نبیند هیچ مرجان را. It is not important which race or country he belongs to. You must be close to the divine, like the proximity of the soul to the body. Even though the body and soul are next to each other, the body cannot see the soul. We already talked about it. By the way, we repeat a lot of poems and verses in this in our classes together, meetings, and the repetition is necessary. If you have good thing, you gotta use it, right? It's like a tool. It's like you have a mechanic, it's using a screwdriver. Everything he does something, he brings a screwdriver. And you say, why you're bringing the screwdriver? This is repetition. Because it's his tool. His tool. A tool you have, it's a useful tool. He uses it whenever he needs it. This poem for us is like a tool. We're using it whenever we need. Whenever we need, you should use it. Don't be embarrassed, ashamed of repetition, because that's what we need. That's what we need. حالا یاران که بخت آمد، گه ایثار رخت آمد، سلیمانی به تخت آمد، برای از شیطان را. Our friends, oh friends, congratulations, because we are lucky. It is time for us to let go of our false and fake beings. Prophet Solomon, the symbol of the Lord, came to our hearts and established his residency in our being, and he will remove the devil that took over our being unjustly. بجه از جا چه می پایی، چرا بی دست و بی پایی، نمیدانی ز هدهد جو ره قصر سلیمان را. Stand up and start moving. Why you're sitting and not making an effort and working hard work and doing the work, doing the hard work. If you don't know, ask the wise bird, symbol of a spiritual master, the way to the Solomon's palace. Okay, Rumi says, do not be lazy. Do not procrastinate. Do not sit and do nothing. Do the hard work. Even though the blessing comes from the divine, but we have to do the work. We have to do the work. Otherwise, it won't happen. It doesn't matter what country you belong to what beliefs or what beliefs you hold. What color do you have, or a man or a woman? It makes no difference. Whoever has surrendered to whoever has surrendered to God will be close to him. Therefore, Rumi's teaching is for everybody, with every religion or every belief. We should not define religion based on beliefs, but based on visiting the divine. In Rumi say, my religion is not the religion of beliefs, is the religion of visiting the divine. Visiting the divine. It's not belief. Belief is dead. But seeing God with you, that's being alive to him. That's connecting to the source, right? Which is the source of life and vitality. What is the definition of surrender? It means acceptance of the events of this moment before judgment and going to the mind. The other meaning is that whatever the mind shows us is not serious. So definition of surrender is important here. Acceptance of the event of this moment before judgment and going to the mind. As soon as something happens and you make a judgment and you go to the mind, you lost your presence. You're out of surrender. Out of surrender. Taslim we say in Farsi or Arabic. And Musalman means surrendered, by the way. The other meaning is whatever the mind shows us is not serious. So when the event happens, the mind, ego wants to judge it. We are not supposed to judge. We have to be without judgment, open the space around it. The event is not important. The space around it is important. The event happens to teach us to expand the heart. Rab Bashreh Li Sadri, Quran says, God, please expand my heart. بدم بی عشق و براهی در آمد عشق ناگاهی. Without true love, I was lost and misdirected, and suddenly love came to my rescue. Here Rumi indicates that if people from different nations and cultures fight with each other, it is because without true love, they're lost and misdirected. We fight with each other at the level of our mind. Therefore, the reason for our fight is the egoic mind. Look how important it is. حافظ جنگ 72 ملت همه را عذر بنه چون ندیدن حقیقت ره افسانه زن. The fight of the 72 countries, nations, همه را عذر بنه. Don't worry about them. Because they didn't see the truth, they went to the afsane, which is like, how do you say afsane?
It's
Beta
like a myth.
myth. Thank you so much.
Mythology.
What a wonderful lady. Thank you. Thank you, Beta Khanum. Myth. Fights or wars is myth. Illusion. Stupidity. هلا یاران که بخت آمد گه ایشار رخت آمد سلیمانی به تخت آمد برای عدل شیطان را. Oh friends, congratulations, because we are lucky. It is time for us to let go of our false and fake beings. Ego is false and fake. Prophet Solomon, the symbol of the Lord, came to our hearts and established his residency in our being, and he will remove the devil that took over our being unjustly. Poem number 58. Oh friends, we are all friends, and luck has come to us. By luck, here Rumi indicates the expansion of the heart. The best luck of the world is expansion of the heart. If you have expanded your heart, you're lucky. If you have not, you're misfortunate. Luck is not finding the right spouse or the right degree or the desired status. It is not luck, but bringing Joseph to our core. Joseph is the beauty of you, of everybody, and that is comes to you when you expand your heart. Joseph. نفس و شیطان هر دو یک تن بوده اند، در دو صورت خیش را بنموده اند. به book 3 verse 40-53 from Masnavi. The ego or fleshly and worldly desires and the devil both have always been essentially one person, but they have manifested themselves in two forms. It says ego and devil is the same thing. This is Rumi. Ego and devil is one thing. Wow. Isn't that amazing? So dangerous to have ego because you have devil in you. چون فرشته و عقل کیشان یک بودند بهر حکمتهاش دو صورت شدند. Like the angel and the minor intellect, which were really one, but because became two forms for the sake of his God's wise purposes. So, so the major intellect and the angel are the same too. If you have major intellect, if you have the عقل kulli, we say in Sufism, the major intellect, I have translated it. These are the same. These are the same. But for some wise purposes, God has created him in two different forms. بجه از جا چه می پایی چرا بی دست و بی پایی نمیدانی ز هد جو ره قصر سلیمان. Stand up and start moving. Why are you sitting and not making an effort and working hard? If you don't know, ask the wise bird, symbol of a spiritual master, the way to the Solomon's palace. Palace. Don't be lazy. بکن آنجا مناجاتت بگو اسرار و حاجاتت سلیمان خود همی داند زبان جمله مرغان را. You should pray in any language that you know and ask for blessings and requests, because Solomon, symbol of the divine, understand the languages of all his creatures. That was from poem number 58. سخن باد است ای بنده کند دل را پراکنده ولیکن اوش فرماید که گردآور پریشان. This is the last poem. Okay, now this one, we're almost done with this poem. Now let's go to a new, this is a beautiful short story from book 3, verse 3055. Start with 3055 verse right here. Beautiful poem. Please pay attention. It's beautiful. Okay. Anybody?
Yes, Mr. Arbiter, I have a question. So in the past verse, we were talking about ego, and you said ego and the shaitan are basically the same thing. But I wanna ask you this.
Yes.
I need you to help me with your take on it from Rumi's perspective. So the current psychology says that actually having ego is a good thing. It's basically like it's something within you that saves you from being delusionally optimistic or being too, I don't know the word for it, but you're here saying that Rumi is saying the ego and shaitan are the same thing.
Okay.
So how do I bridge the gap in my head?
Okay. Let me tell you. Good point. Ego, my dear. Ego in its controlled status, it's okay. Okay, which we all have. If you didn't have ego, you would be dead by now. What's John? I'll tell you why. My dad, God bless his soul, Sufi, he was Sufi. He said, if you don't have an ego and you are sitting and eating your food and you're very hungry, you start eating your food, and somebody comes and takes your food away from you, you wouldn't say anything. You have no ego. So basically, that person would die from starvation because he would not defend himself for nothing. You see what I'm saying? A person with no ego would probably sleep in the street. That's that's a controllable necessity amount of ego, if there is such a word, degree of ego. Rumi doesn't talk about that, my dear. Rumi talk about people who have $1 million and work for $1 billion and want more. Have 20 houses, they want 21st one. Right? Telling about those people. But ego in its original form, which all have. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So Rumi doesn't worry about that. He says, if you're here, you're good. But but you have to control it, and you have to know how much of it you need. It's that's it. I mean, in that form, ego. A child who's becoming a person and a healthy individual, he has already developed his ego. Don't worry about that. You have it already. Worry about not allowing it to control you, because that's when you're in trouble. Then look at the people with a lot of ego. So what kind of trouble they make for themselves and for the rest of the world? It's amazing. It's amazing. Did I answer your question, my dear Qudsi? I mean, Rumi answered. I'm not claiming this is mine, but I learned it from other Sufi masters.
Yes, yes, 100%. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very
you're
much.
welcome. You're welcome. Now we will discuss a short story, Masnavi book 3, verse 355, which is short. However, it shows our destiny and our situation in this world. As a matter of fact, what you ask comes in this one. You'll see. It's a beautiful short story. In this story, there is a king who is a symbol of our egoic mind. Listen, please pay attention. Every story in Rumi is about us. It's about our internal conflicts, internal reaction. Rumi doesn't say a story to say a story. He says a story to teach us a lesson for our love, for our life, for our life. He doesn't say it to just entertain us. He entertains us and he teaches us at the same time. So everything is symbolic. Mostly everything is symbolic, almost. In this story, there is a king who is a symbol of our egoic mind, a servant called Songor, which is the symbol of our true self or the divine soul in all of us. There is a divine soul in everybody. That's Rumi and all other masters of Sufism, they say that. The third character is Alton, which is the female servant. Who is the female servant? This story shows us that when we come to this world and become attached to worldly stuff, what happens to us? What happens when we get attached to the worldly stuff? Listen. What happens to us is that egoic mind becomes the king. Look, this is a king now. Because it has a lot of power now all over us. And our true self, which is the extension of the divine, becomes his servant. Look, the soul was supposed to be the king, the ruler, and it worked the other way, reversed itself. Now the body, the ego is riding the soul of the horse. It's like if you want, it's like a rider is supposed to sit on the horse, but the horse sit on the rider. That's what it means, right? The soul was supposed to ride on the horse of the ego, but it went the other way, reversed. What happens is to us is that the egoic mind becomes the king, and our true self, which is the extension of a divine, becomes his servant. Therefore, The egoic mind manages our life, and it has control of our life. This is what is dangerous, Hosea. Not that you protect yourself to have food and a roof over your head. Not, my dear. Control you totally. And then there is another character, Alton, who has the same essence as life, like Songor. That's a servant, female servant. The king all of a sudden realizes that he needs to cleanse his soul from all the contaminations, attachments, and pains. Therefore, he realizes that he needs to wake himself up from the sleep of his ego. Start of the story. میر شد محتاج گرمابه سحر، بانگ زد سنگور حالا بردار سر. In the early morning, this is book 3, verse 355. So this is consequence, verse after verse. This is, if you want to read it, you can go to book 3 and verse 3055. In the early morning, the king needed to go to take a bath and called upon his servant Songor, to please wake up, and so we could go to the public bath. The king calls his servant Songor, say, let's go to the bathroom. I'm sorry, public bath. Take a bath. Not bathroom, you mean. Take a bath. Shower. In the old days, people did not have showers inside homes like now, and went to public baths to take showers and clean them. So as a matter of fact, when I was a teenager, when I was a child, I remember we used to go to public baths, even though we had showers, by the way, because somebody cleaned us then. Very nice. Rumi indicates the time of the story as early morning, because it is the time between dark and light, but it is still night. We are still in night. In order to get to the morning, to the light, we have to cleanse ourselves. These are all symbolic. Please pay attention. Now you need to look at yourself and ask yourself, have you realized that you have ruined and destroyed your life and made stories, confuse yourself with noise in your mind and excessive talking, worthiness, compared yourself to others, cause pain for yourself and others, and you need to cleanse yourself. Look at yourself honestly. Say, have I caused this problem for myself? These are what we just count. We confuse ourselves. We talk too much. We make story in our mind, scripts, excessive talking, worthiness, comparing ourselves to others and causing pain for ourselves and others. So if that's the case, you have to cleanse. You have to go to the public bath. We all have to go. Everybody should come to the realization that he needs to take an internal shower, which is not changing his beliefs and cleansing, which is not changing his belief and cleaning his mind and keeping the egoic mind. It's not that you go and change your belief and keep your egoic mind. That's not cleansing. Cleansing is minimizing your ego. Therefore, you can see how Rumi starts his story. He emphasizes that we need to realize the extent of the damage that we have caused ourselves, our bodies, our families, our societies, and each other. Look at the situation of the world. See how much damage we have caused each other, our families, our relationships. How much cause how much damage and pain and suffering and trouble have caused ourselves. Look at yourself. Yeah, you don't have to tell nobody. Just look at yourself. تاس و مندیل و گل از آلتون بگیر تا به گرمابه رویم ای ناگزیر. Go get all the bathroom accessories that we need from Alton so we can go to the public bath. You have to have your stuff. They don't give you stuff there. You have to have your soap, your shampoo, whatever you do. Take it out. Let's go. Here, you as king, which is your ego, is telling your soul somewhere, go get the bathroom accessories from Alton, whose gender is female, which is the symbol of our tenderness. You get those stuff from your tender part. That's why ladies are really, if you look at the spiritual classes, ladies are the majority. When my dad was alive, God bless his soul, and we used to go and have zikr, which is the remembrance of God. Most of the attendees were ladies because they're closer. The bathroom accessories are our patience, opening of heart, and abstinence. See, everything has a symbolic meaning here. It's not what it looks at on the surface. Go deeper, go deeper. So go get the accessories from your tender part, which is alton, which is what? Patience, opening of our hearts, and absence. سنگراندم تاس و مندیلی نکو برگرفت و رفت با او دو به دو. Songor immediately took the bathroom accessories from Alton and went with the king toward the public bath. Songor does not procrastinate and immediately picks up the accessories. This approach indicates that we as individuals, spiritually and in our true selves, understand that we need to cleanse our souls. We know that. Our nature knows that we have to cleanse ourselves. But we're procrastinating, we're being lazy, we are not acting upon it. He took the accessories from Alton, which is life itself, and with the king is going to the public bath. Here, Songor is the observer, watcher, and viewer. Songor is everything here. Okay? As soon as they start going to the public bath, they found out a mosque, church or temple, which is the symbol of the expansion of the heart. That's, you have to open your heart. مسجدی بر ره بود و بانگ صلا آمدن در گوش سنگور در ملا. There was a mosque on the road, and Songor heard the voice of the announcer of the prayer, the same as a church bell. Like a church bell is ringing, singing, whatever. Come to the church, come to the mosque, azan in Islam. بود سنگر سخت مولع در نماز گفت ای میر من ای بنده نواز. Songor was very concerned, zealous, and enthusiastic in his prayers and told the king, تو بر این دکان زمانی صبر کن تا گذارم فرض و خوانم لم یکن. Please wait here at the door in the shop so I can go inside the mosque and perform my obligatory prayer. Salat, we say in Arabic, namaz in Farsi. I want to do my prayers. These three verses have a lot of wisdom that you can use in your life. As soon as you understand that as an egoic mind, you cause a lot of damage and harm in your life, all of a sudden your core shouts and cries at you and asks you, why are you causing so much harm in my life? Then Songor realizes that there is a mosque on his way, which is the symbol of an expanded heart and an open space in your inner being. So we understand that the cause and damage that we have created in our life can be cured by the expansion of heart. That's what Rumi says. This is a poem from Divan-e Shams. To understand this, what we have read up to now from this story, از غیب رو نمود صلایی زد و برفت که این راه کوتاه است گرت نیست پاروا. God from the hidden world announced a message and left. This path is short unless you are not a serious path seeker. So Rumi here says from the hidden world something came and told us a message and says the path is short. If you're taking too long because you're not a serious path seeker, that's the truth, by the way. That's truth. If you're serious, we get to the we be saved. We will be saved, but we are not serious, unfortunately. Therefore, life always calls upon us and tells us you need to expand your heart and open the space in your inner being. As Rumi has indicated in this poem, as soon as your soul realizes that it is a call for prayer, it is very enthusiastic to participate. Therefore, your true divine self is very eager and willing to travel the path of spirituality and become close to God and move away from earthly attachment. Every child who is born into this world is eager and enthusiastic to approach the divine. But parents, people, and society discourage him and move him away from the divine to the earthly attachment. We basically ruin our children. Look at the children, beautiful beings, so close to the divine, so close to the source, and we move them away gradually. In sociology, they call him socialization. Socialization means we make it so we socialize it. The socialization meaning that we're moving away from their true self. Now, as we can realize from the tone of the poem, Songor as your true and divine self speaks respectfully with the king, which is a symbol of ego. This means that even with our ego, who has sabotaged our lives, we need to speak with respect and expand that heart. This is very important, ladies and gentlemen. We have to be even nice to our enemy, which is the ego inside us. Violence doesn't work here. Doesn't work. You say to your ego, get out of this way. Get out of my life. Doesn't work. You have to be respectful. Another point that we should pay attention to is this usage of shop. This is the shop of the mind, which is the place to sell, where we sell ourselves and attempt to convince others that we are better, prettier, superior, smarter, richer, stronger, and more educated. It's a shop. That's why it says stay in the shop. To say to the king, stay in the shop. You remember that? Here. Please right here on the door of the shop, so I can go inside the mosque and perform my obligatory prayer. So the king, which is the symbol of the ego is selling itself all the time, constantly selling itself. I'm better. This is beautiful. I'm better. I'm prettier. I'm superior. I'm smarter. I'm richer. I'm stronger. I'm more educated. More. Comparison. Comparison is horrible. It's a work of ego. Songor does not tell the king to close the shop. He only asks him to wait for a while. So I, who is now your servant, perform an obligatory prayer. Don't close the shop. Don't close the ego. Let's see. Don't close the ego. He says, don't close it. Don't close it. Therefore, we learn that we cannot fight with our ego, who has become our boss and controls us. As soon as you fight with your ego, you become from his essence. We should not even disrespect our ego and handle it with violence and disrespect. Otherwise, we become from the same essence. As soon as you fight with your ego, you become your ego. You are the same essence. Means you're becoming ego. How can ego fight ego? We say the knife cannot cut its own handle. Cannot. In our true sense, we are the extension of the divine and should behave accordingly. Beautiful, beautiful. I think this is a beautiful story. Beautiful. I hope I can explain it properly. I hope. چون امام و قوم بیرون آمدند از نماز و وردها فارغ شدند. When the worshippers, people and the clergy left the mosque and finished their prayers, سنقر آنجا ماند تا نزدیک چاشت. میر سنقر را زمانی چشم داشت. سنقر stayed in the mosque until noon and the king was waiting outside for him. گفت ای سنقر چرا نایی بیرون؟ گفت ای سنقر چرا نایی برون؟ گفت می نگذاردم این زوفنون. گفت می نگذاردم این زوفنون. Then king said, oh Songor, why don't you come out? He replied, this artful refers to God Almighty One will not let me out. This artful cannot get me out, let me out. Now verse 361. 3061, sorry, this one. When the worshippers, people, and the clergy left the mosque and finished their prayers. Now verse 3061 is very important. It indicates when the worshippers, people, and the clergy left the mosque and finished their prayers, clergy is the one whom people follow and is significant. Therefore, on one side is the clergy, and on the other side, the people who have a lot of influence. So these are the people with influence, basically. Let us look at our situation. When we study Rumi and other spiritual teachers and try to stay true to ourselves, but still the great force and power of society will make us do exactly the opposite. The power of society moves us toward the low and earthly situation. Remember, here Rumi tells us, be careful. If you're on the spiritual path, the society, this force of the society and authority will move you away from your spiritual path. Be careful. That's what happens. Okay. Clergy is the individual who has authority and power, and the society follows him too. These forces are strong, but we should not allow them to bring us down and make us little and petty. Here we realize that the clergy and its followers, society, will not stay in the mosque, the space of unity. They left. See, they came there, they were there for a while, and they left. They didn't stay. That's the way the society and the authority works. It doesn't stay for long enough to cleanse and to get to the destination, to get closer to God, basically. In the same spirit, Hafiz, the Persian poet, says, صوفیان واسطدند از گرو می همه رخت دلق ما بود که در خانه خمار بماند. The Sufi took off their clothes, which was the pledge of the wine of love. It was our attire that stayed in the house of the winemaker. Hafiz Divan, poem number 178. Rumi says Hafiz says, which is another Sufi poet, he says, everybody went inside for the pledge to get the wine of love. They left, they pledged their clothes, say, take my clothes, give me wine. But they went back and took it out. They had it for a short while, they took it out. But it was my attire who stayed there forever. Because I don't want my attire anymore. I want the wine of love forever. I'm not going to go and give back the wine and take my attire. No, I let the attire stay there. I don't want it. I don't want my ego anymore. Causing me trouble, causing me to have no joy in life, right? Causing me pain. Why should I have it? I want the wine. I want the wine of the love to be happy and joyous forever. I don't want to. So I leave my attire there and I take the wine of love forever. See, Hafiz is very, very wise. Very, very wise. He says, I let them take it. I'm not going to take it. My tire stay there as a pledge because I want to keep the wine of love and drink it forever. That's what Hafiz says here. Winemaker is a symbol of the creator, and the attire is a symbol of the egoic mind. The house of God is the space of expanded heart. So it says, I gave my attire, my ego, to get to stay in the space which is the wine of life, love. Therefore, from these poems, we learn that we should not leave the mosque, the space of unity, the church, whatever you want to call it. Don't get specific. It's just a place of unity. We should not follow and imitate the clergy or the leader that moves us away from our true self and our highest spiritual level. You go there, you stay there. Don't let them bring you down. They will. They will. That's their job, to bring you down. Like the force of gravity. Like the force of gravity. You want to fly, they bring you down. The your soul bird wants to fly, they bring you down. They don't want you to fly. چون امام و قوم بیرون آمدند از نماز و وردها فارغ شدند, when the worshippers, people and the clergy left the mosque and finished their prayers, سنقر آنجا ماند تا نزدیک چاشت, میر سنقر را زمانی چشم داشت. Songor stayed in the mosque until noon, and the king was waiting outside for him. Songor stayed in the mosque, and the king was asking himself, why is Songor not coming out? However, Songor was staying in an expanded heart moment and was not consistently and continuously and was consistent and was consistently, I'm sorry, not was sorry for this error, and was consistently and continuously opening the space in his heart. He didn't leave the mosque. He didn't leave the church. He stayed there. He was expanding his heart. Therefore, the sun was rising in his core, and he was becoming alive to God. Here, king is a symbol of egoic mind, and Songor is keeping the ego in check and keeping him out of his space of unity. If you let the ego come to that space, it's going to ruin it for you. It's going to ruin it for us. گفت ای سنگور چرا نایی برون گفت می نگذاردم این زوفنون. The king said, oh Songor, why don't you come out? He replied, this artful refers to God Almighty. One will not let me out. The king asked Songor, why don't you come out? Songor answers, this artful one will not let me out. Therefore, if your Songor, which is the symbol of your true self and spiritual intelligence, is awake, you should not imitate others. You should not allow the force and power of the authority of society and influential individuals to lead you astray. Stay in the space of unity. Don't leave. That's what Rumi said. Don't leave. Even though everybody is leaving, let them leave. You stay. You stay. صبر کن نک آمدم ای روشنی نیستم غافل که در گوش منی. Have patience. Now Songor tells to the king, look how polite he is. We should be polite with our ego. صبر کن نک آمدم ای روشنی نیستم غافل که در گوش منی. Have patience, behold I come, O light of my eyes. I'm not careless, for you are in my ear. He calls, Songor calls the king, the light of my eye. So your true self, your spirit tells to the ego, oh, you are light of my eye. You respect him so much. It's going to work for you. Rumi knows that. Rumi knows that. That's how you get rid of your ego. Otherwise, it would control you forever. Don't fight him because you are becoming of his essence. That's dangerous. That's what Rumi says here. Beautiful. Please pay attention to the fact that Songor answers the king respectfully, indicating that even though the egoic mind is harming us, we need to be respectful to it. Beautiful. Praise the Lord. Huh? It's 8:01. Shall we finish it? Bita Khanum, there's few more verses.
Okay.
What do you think?
If it's just a few more.
Yeah, a few more.
Okay, let's go.
7 نوبر صبر کرد و بان کرد تا که عاجز گشت از تیباش مرد. 7 times in succession did he show patience and then shout, the king, till at last the man was reduced to despair by his Songor's delay tactics. پاسخش این بود می نگذاردم تا برون آیم هنوز ای محترم. His Songor's reply was always this, he will not let me come out yet, oh honorable master. He still calls him honorable master. He still calls him master. This, see, he still respects the ego. Please notice how Songor treats the kings, his egoic mind. Oh, you honorable, light of my eyes. Therefore, you need to examine yourself and find out how you are dealing with your ego, violently or with care and gentleness. You know that your ego is not light, but you still need to treat it with care and gentleness. Okay, we read this one, so I'm not going to read it. گفت آخر مسجد کس نماند کیت وامی دارد آنجا گفت آخر مسجد اندر کس نماند کیت وامی دارد آنجا کت نشاند. He, the master king, said, why there is no one left in the mosque who is keeping you there, who has made you sit in the mosque. گفت آنکه بسته است از برون بسته است او هم مرا در اندرون. He, Songor, said, he who has chained you outside of the mosque has chained me to inside of it. Whoever kept you out kept me in. That's what Songor answers him. آنکه نگذارد تو را کایی درون می نبگذارد مرا کاید پایم برون. He who will not let you come in will not let me come out. Here the king tells the Songor, all people and crazy left the mosque. How come you are still staying inside the mosque and don't come out like everybody else? In reply, Songor does not say that God or love did not let me come out. He says, he who. He does not mention any specific name because he knows names are loaded with associations and cause trouble. He doesn't say God. He says that one, he who. آنکه نگذارد که از این سو پا نهی او بدین سو بس پای این رهی. He who will not let you set foot in this direction has chained the foot of his slave, this slave, so that he cannot move in the opposite direction. He who will not refers to life. He who will not refers to life, God, who does not allow for ego to get in, and on the other hand does not allow the one who has expanded his heart to get out of the space of unity. ماهیان را بحر نگذارد برون، خاکیان را بحر نگذارد درون. The sea does not let the fish out. The sea does not let the creatures of earth in. اصل ماهی آب و حیوان از گل است. حیله و تدبیر اینجا باطل است. Water is the original home of the fish and the animal is of the earth. Here deceit and cleverness are of no avail. So basically, because the soul belongs to the space of unity and the ego is outside. They won't change the places. They won't get into each other's location. These three verses are very important. First, Rumi does not use a specific name or adjective for the unity that prevents Songor from leaving the mosque or allows the king to enter it. The egoic mind is always in the comparison mode, but awakened, enlightened self is unique and particular. Thank you so much. He left 5 minutes over time, but I want to finish it because this is a beautiful story and it teaches us how to treat our ego. Any question, comments? Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I almost got a mini enlightenment hearing you say, fighting with ego, we become of its essence. I thought that was so profound. I can meditate on it for days.
Thank God, thank God.
Yeah, and the ending part, yeah, we can go over it again. We
Yeah,
start.
we can go. Yeah, because I just wanted, because the story finishes here, and I want you guys to. We missed some sessions. I wanted to make up somehow.
Oh yeah.
No, this is good. This is good, Mr. Akbar. These sessions sometimes
I'm
get
so
very
sorry.
intense.
Joseph wants to leave. Let him go first, and then we go. Joseph, you want to say
Awesome.
a few words before you leave in 1 minute?
Go ahead.
Yes, it was a pleasure, and I see you next time. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Aminia.
See you next time. Thank you. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, good.
Mr. Akbar, sometimes these sessions get very intense, but in a good way. Like there's a lot of wisdom,
Yeah.
and I am not very wise, so it takes me a couple minutes
No,
to
you're
just
wise.
like.
You're wise, but you're humble. You're wise. You're humble.
No, but this
you're-
this was good, Mr. Akbar. This is really, this discussion is becoming very healthy and
Alhamdulillah.
very. I love these sessions. They're awesome.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
That's good. We
yeah.
are trying. You know, it is. This is Rumi. I'm just trying my best.
No, I mean, Bira, do you have a couple minutes? Can we talk?
Yeah,
I can
Okay.
finish. Can I? I think I should.
Yes, stop recording.
Stop
Yeah,
the recording. Yeah.
yeah.